This question about the boys and girls, can they talk to each other with whatever means, whether it's virtual or physically or so. And it's basically the relationship between men and women. And when we say boys and girls, if they are in the age of puberty and above, they are considered to be adults, so men and women. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful, He has more mercy towards ourselves more than our own selves. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best what's best for us. So there are limits that is explained in the Quran and in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ when it comes to the relationships between men and women, those who are not blood related, where they are mentioned specifically in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, that you can mix and indulge in relationships with one's wife, one's mother, one's aunt, and so on and so forth. But other than that, we know that it is mandatory for women to wear hijab. We know that it's mandatory for both men and women to lower their gaze and not to gaze at one another. We know that it's also part of the deen of Allah, that the Prophet ﷺ made the back of his masjid for the women, and he made a special door for them. And the Prophet ﷺ would not turn after he finished the salah till the women would leave the masjid, and then he would turn so that he does not see any of them in the back. And he, ﷺ, he would order them to be separated from one another. Like one time the Prophet ﷺ went outside of the masjid and he found the men and women are all mixed. And he addressed the women and he said, لَيْسَ لَكُنَّ وَسْطَ الطَّرِيقِ, that it's not for you to be in the middle of the road. Stay on the side. And immediately the Sahabiyat, the righteous women, when they heard this from the Prophet ﷺ, they applied the orders of Allah to the extent of which that their side would have the dust of the wall because of their being extreme to the side of the road, to avoid that mixing between men and women, and many other hadith in this. So the issue of loose talk and things like this is something for people to stay away from, unless it's a necessity. A person buying and selling, right? This is a person in the market, he's purchasing, he's talking, there's nothing wrong with that. A person answering the phone, to whatever is necessity and not to go beyond that. And there are even etiquettes to be observed and not to soften one's speech. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا سَأَلْتُمُهُنَّ مَتَاعًا فَاسْأَلُوهُنَّ مِنْ وَرَاءِ حِجَابٍ. If you ask them about something which shows that there's a need to talk to them, then ask them behind a hijab, behind a physical veil or something like this, so that you are not really looking at each other and you're not close to each other and so on. So that's why this is something that we should stay away from. That's why having schools that are mixed and having men and women, boys and girls are at ease with one another, this is something that is forbidden and we should stay away from and fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And parents have a responsibility. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from all these fitan, but this is again in brief.